And greetings YouTube. It's been a while since my last update. We've actually moved just across town, nothing major, but still a lot of work. And I've started on a couple of new projects. Actually, it's one big new project and a couple of smaller ones. For the most part, I am starting in on a full couple thousand point Elysian army. I've got most of the models that I need for it, and let's see if we can get it to focus. This is the first batch of test guys. I did one model. It's one of these guys, one of the running ones, as a test model on his own, and then I painted up a squad. It's actually taken me a couple months to do, mostly just because I've been working a lot. 10-hour days at work. I don't really feel like coming home and painting that much, but I made an endeavor to try and paint at least a little bit, even if it's only, one highlight color on all these guys every night. I haven't quite managed it, but most nights I do at least one thing on them. They're not quite done. There's a couple of highlights here and a couple of highlights there. I decided on a couple of last-minute changes, and those little bits aren't quite done. And I think I have a gloss coat to put on most of the visors, and just a couple of things here and there. But for the most part, they are done. They're good enough to get what I'm going for. They are Elysians from Forge World. For any of you who don't recognize them, I've always loved these models, even more so than the Krieg. And the Krieg are fantastic models. Let's get a couple of the other ones here. And there's enough variation in all of these. Let's see if we can get some better light. There we are. There's enough variation in all the models to where there's just a ton of posability that you can do between all the guys. Yeah, they're fantastic models. These are some of my favorite 40K models, hands down, and they're really nice to paint. All the Forge World stuff tends to be really good for painting. Lots of good detail. I've actually been using all the new GW paints. Those have been very good so far. I don't have the complete line, obviously. That's 100 and some, paints. I don't have $500 laying around, so. But I've got all the yellows, a bunch of the greens, some of the browns, some blues. The new foundation white is amazing. That plus some of the washes are what the helmet is done in. And it's nice and relatively smooth. The visor's done with their new blues. New yellows on all the armor and the guns, a couple of the new silver colors and all that. The only color that's not new GW is actually the skin, which, to be honest, doesn't need to match perfectly between guys. And the boots. I use one of the Reaper Master series for getting this leather effect, and I could probably replicate it with the new GW stuff, but I already know how to do it. With this, and I've got a full set of bottles of them that'll last me for ages and ages, so I'm very happy with how they are coming out. This is the first squad of 10. I've got a sergeant and just 9 guys with las guns, and I've even got a Voxcaster there just to paint it up. I quite like them. I think I was holding him up earlier. You can take a little gander at the Vox if we can get it to focus. There we go. So I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, they're taking a long time, but now that the squad itself is done, I think it'll be fairly easy to just replicate on a mass scale. I can lay down the base colors pretty quick and then just go from there with all the highlights. Next up, I'm going to try a vehicle, and we'll get back to that in a minute. This is just one of their drop sentinels. I got it from eBay. Somebody had already assembled most of it. The driver and the little canopy top isn't on there. This is obviously just a base color. I'm just putting down the metal and a nice heavy black wash just to bring out on the details, and then also see if there's anywhere that I need to go back through and putty and sand up. And actually I think there is a bit over here, either on this side or on this side on the little resin bit here. Yeah, there's a couple of places that I need to go through and just preen up a bit just to make it look real nice, but nothing major. So I'm going to get this done, not because I'm going to be including many sentinels in my army, because as you can see there's a multi-melta on it and that's not legal in the regular GW codex. That's only in the Imperial Armor 8 list, which I do have, but I can't really bring to most tournaments. So but the test scheme will be for a set of vendettas. This is obviously the wing from a vendetta, and you can see there's fiber optic poking out of it. I'm going to have a beacon light here. Let's see, there we are. There's the fiber optic poking out. I've got a beacon. I'll have a beacon light, a flasher here, and on the other wing tip, I'm considering, whoa, dumping guys all over, a nav light somewhere, maybe along this back edge, or perhaps right here before these engines, which would actually be a good place, because as you can see there would be a nice place to hide an LED in there, and I can set that up with a flasher to alternate between this and the other side, and then these will just get a blinking LED, a nice bright white one, and I'll sync all these LEDs into that. So I've got that. I can show you how I did that. On this end, on this side, there isn't much to it. Okay, there we are. Not too overexposed. There we are. You can see there's just a fiber optic drilled in here. There is a hard turn here, but the light transfer is still pretty good, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. And this is just drilled through right there. That was a really easy part. The difficult part was digging out this trench and scoring it out. I could have used my Dremel. I've got a good, Dremel with all sorts of fun attachments and things. The problem that I have with using the Dremel on anything like this is one little slip up and you got a hole in your model, or you've skipped across some detail or something, and I just don't trust it. It's the same reason I drill everything out with a pin vise. I don't drill barrels out or do anything really on models unless it's by hand. I've screwed up too many models with my Dremel. It's really for very specific things, or when I'm converting like metal models and things like that. Then I'll go ahead and use it, but I don't break it out of the box too often. But it's just a trench that's dug along here. You can see it in profile here, okay, and it's just dug out enough to where it'll seat the fiber optic here in that, and it'll be rigid enough once it's all together. It's not particularly wobbly or anything. I can kind of push on it and fiddle around with it, and it doesn't bend or anything. And then this little edge here is cut out a bit, but this edge actually goes into the lip here on the wing. So that all fits together and goes in there and lines up nice and flush. I did that on both wings. You can see the other wing is there, but I also went through and added a few fiber optics. Not a whole lot, but a few, to the control panels in here. So I'll have a couple of lights in here. I'll probably do one blinking, possibly back and forth between like red and green or red and blue or something like that. And then one just constantly on. So like a couple of the lights will blink on and off, and then the rest will not. I tried to get some fiber optics up in here. Whoa, I'm off frame. So I've tried to get some fiber optics up in this area on the top, and it was just too much to get them through, so I removed it, and I'll hide the scars of my effort in there. But everything else is actually all hidden. It all mounts underneath where all the seats go, and I just clipped off the tab there, and they bend down just fine. They're not even a hard bend, so there's that. And these are obviously, for those of you who are only wargamers and not like model spaceship guys, or don't follow any of that stuff, if you're going to use fiber optic, always feed it through more than you need, because this is going to get painted, and unless you want to have to try and mask it off or scrape it back off or do any of that kind of stuff, just leave it long. That way you can paint it to your heart's content and then just cut it off at the end. That's the way to do it. I mean, that's really the only secret there is for that kind of thing. So I've got those four down along the bottom there, and there's no way that I'll be able to zoom in enough to see it properly, but there is a tiny lip around all of those of the original piece that's in there. It's just the perfect, ooh, you can see them glowing. Very nice. So yeah, you can see the glowing fiber optic there. They aren't actually glowing the same amount. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera or not. They aren't actually glowing the same amount simply because the ends aren't actually all cut the same and they're pointing at different sources of light. But yeah, so those will look very cool. So the interior will get a bit of light. Same thing here, these little side doodads right there, and the big one on that bit right there. I have access to some fiber optics that are this size for the dials. I may do those. I have not decided yet. Those will look pretty cool. I think those would be fun to light up, but I'm not sure. I may not. Simply for time. This all takes quite a bit of time. It took me basically all weekend of hobby to get the channels dug out on the wings, and I have a lot of wiring to do. As you can see over here, there's all my breadboard, and there's some yellow LEDs, and there's just a bunch of resistors and LEDs and all sorts of stuff in there. So I've got lots of stuff to do. Somewhere around here I have my timing chips. They're buried under there. There's timing chips in there. There's some 5 circuits that I'll be making to get all these going. And well, there are at least 4 or 5 of these vendettas to do for any list that I can foresee making in the near future. 6th edition comes out in a couple weeks, so we'll see exactly how it works there, but that's kind of what I'm foreseeing. So I have a lot of fiber opticking and electrical circuit building and all that stuff to do as well. So plus, 70 or 80 of these guys to paint still. And I'm going to try and get it done by October. I'm trying to get it done by the Brawl in the Fall, so we'll see if I manage that. It's a bit ambitious, but hey, why not? Failing that, I'm going to try and make it to the Broadside Bash again this year. I haven't been for a couple years, and it's always a good time. Maybe make a couple of the other GTs, see what I can snag prize-wise for painting. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into this, and haven't seen too many really well done lit up models, especially as gaming pieces and not just as display pieces. I should be able to manage it with batteries, because there's enough room in the Vendettas to hold any batteries that I will need. So we'll see how that all goes. What else do I have? I have some fantasy stuff that I've been working on. It's just ogres speed paint. Let's snag a couple of them. And these guys aren't quite done. I have a couple of guys done, but nothing special. Still have to do skin and boots and the belts and all that stuff. But nice and simple. Nothing crazy. Just get them done. I'll probably sell these guys off. I haven't been having too much fun playing with them. The new Codex is really good, a lot of fun. The Mornfang Cavalry are great. They're really nice looking models. The new Thunder Tusk Stonehorn guy, again, great looking models, all that stuff. I've been having more fun with my Empire and thinking about my Orcs again and all that stuff. So I think I'm just going to paint them up and sell them off, eBay them or Bartertown or whatnot. So we'll see. So that's kind of what I've been working on. Think that's it. Yes. Awkward pause.